Scorecard is back on your screens here on Channel 1 TV. I am Benjamin Nketia. Welcome to the show, to all of you watching us from wherever you are, inside Ghana, outside Ghana, on the continent. It's absolutely lovely to spend time with you every Sunday night. It's the time of the week where we break down all the highlights, all the goals, all the patterns, and all the numbers from the weekend. Liverpool fans are all smiles because they stumbled some way, somewhat in the last 2 game weeks, and Arsenal some way made it, livable, really. Like, they made a situation where Liverpool didn't have to regret. So they won today against Manchester City. Arsenal lost their first game at home. Man United played out a draw with Everton. Chelsea, looks like Chelsea are on a free fall as far as the season ending is concerned. We'll talk about all that and more on the show today. There's also some La Liga action and some Italian Serie A action as well. So lots to chew on as far as Scorecard today is concerned. Let's do a quick turnaround. When we come back, I'll introduce my guys in the studio and then we'll get today's show going. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. My two good friends are here, Susu Graham and Coach Christopher Nimley. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
Another weekend, another Scorecard show, and show probably brought to us by Soccerbet, as you can rightly see in the corner over there. Today, some people have made some good cash. It could have been you. You are afraid to invest. The people who invested are reaping the results.
The way Como business, I know that investors are worried.
Very, but you see, there are people too who saw Como's light and decided to invest in Como.
Yeah. It's not easy. The Soccerbet people, they don't disappoint.
No, they don't.
The payment is prompt.
Quick.
It's on time.
Quick.
Once you win, pack.
Quick.
Once you win, pack.
Yeah.
Charlie.
And right now they're reading our budget, so betting tax too is going.
You know what it is.
Time. The government is.
This is the time to invest.
Yeah, this is the time to start. Yeah.
Yep. Let's get the highlights really going. We have a lot to talk about today. Let's start off with the action at Goodison Park, Everton Football Club, where the most informed side going into the game week. They were up against Man United. It was David Moyes welcoming his old employers back to where it all began for him. Let's get the action of those or that particular game, and then we'll come back in studio and discuss. Yes, so Man United and Everton splitting points. Goal scoring is so rare for Ugarte. He didn't even know how to celebrate. Anyway, I'm sure they would be happy with the 1 point based on the fact that they were heading towards nothing and a defeat. Let me start with you on that note, Coach. 2-2. Everton are still, lamenting that draw. I've seen a few Everton fans on there saying that the refereeing wasn't fair to them based on how the game ended on the Ashley Young penalty incident. We've spoken about it on radio extensively, but this was a good result for Everton. Why do you think they couldn't see it out? Because they looked like they were probably going to score more than 2 at a point.
You see, truth be told, even their first 2 goals were all giveaways. If you are Man United, you should be extremely disappointed in the manner in which those 2 goals were conceded. But hey, it is only a good team that will take advantage
of
when you
error.
go to sleep. They punish you. This is the level of the Premiership, the apex of the game. So when you go sleeping, when you go sloppy, it is proper, you get punished. Now, when Everton took that 2-goal lead into halftime and came back, David Moyes clearly felt that United, he knew that United would come at them, and therefore he felt that let me put more men behind the ball and play on the counter-attack. But the problem is that their counter-attack were not properly coordinated. So they tend giving the ball away most of the times. Now, one thing that Ruben Amorim did was never to bring back Casemiro in that second half. United look a completely different, a completely transformed team without Casemiro. Bruno Fernandes dropped a bit deeper into midfield alongside Manuel Ugarte, and then Bruno started getting on the ball and then passing the ball, where in that first half, Casemiro was so much afraid that he wouldn't just pass the ball forward. He was content with going sideways and backwards. And you ask yourself, this is a player who had some 3, 4, 5 seasons ago, obviously the best central midfielder or DM in the world. Nobody contested him. Nobody competed with him. He was that good. Only Casemiro himself can explain what has happened to him. But again, the third goal of the game was the most important goal. Because at the time, Everton themselves were cruising, 2-0 lead. If they had gone on to score the third goal, it would have been game over.
Yeah.
So the moment Bruno Fernandes threw a very good free kick, scored that first goal, that made it 2-1, Man United got that belief that they could at least make something from it. But let's point some few things out there. Look, I've listened to Amorim. He's a coach I support 100%. I will still say what I've always been saying. Don't change the back three. Don't change the back five. Anybody who cannot fit into that system, you get rid of them. I would have been the first to tell him to change. If these players had enough deposit in the bank. But they've shown over the years that if you dance to their rhythm, they will just hold you on there for a season. The next season, they will sabotage you and then you go away. United has gotten to the stage where they need to do a complete rebuild. And I'm happy that he stuck to that system, that this is the way we are going to go. Anybody who cannot fit in, let the person go. Look at Harry Maguire. You saw Harry Maguire?
That second goal.
Look, that second goal, his body shape from the initial pass ruled him out. He's very slow on the recovery. The pass across ruled him out. If he had genuine pace, he would have been blocking the pass across.
Yep.
Onana did a wonderful save because at that moment, the ball right in front of the goalkeeper, all he needed to do was to make sure that he's going to stop it from entering the net.
Yeah.
Did he do that? Yes. Maguire was flat-footed.
Yep.
Actually, coach, sorry, it's worse than that because he actually had enough time.
That's what I'm saying.
He needed to jump and try and head the ball.
If he was on his toes, naturally, he would have. If he was on his toes, naturally, that would have
Coach,
prepared
I understand,
him.
but you see, the reason I'm even this because flat-footed is more like he's not paying attention. He was just watching the ball.
That's
This
it.
is even worse than
It's
that.
because
Like,
he was flat
He was asleep.
and he's watching the ball in the air. Do you see the English media? None of them, I repeat, none of the English media, none of the English pundit, I've listened to almost all of them. None of them have highlighted that lackluster, sluggish, lackadaisical approach by Harry Maguire because he's got the English passport. But if Onana were to make one mistake, his name will be all over the place. It is clear that most of these boys are just not good enough. And for me, they were lucky to rescue it. On the Ashley Young situation, no, come on, man. There was no way that was a penalty. Look at the man. I think he's been engaged in some swimming practice or diving practice.
Come on.
No, but if I'm pulling so when I pull you have to fall back. How do you dive forward like that? What? Where from that? Ashley Young.
No, but he was trying to fight through two players to get into the box.
No, but you don't dive
this one,
with your foot.
This one,
Let's-
coach,
I wish I could demonstrate what he did. I'm telling you honestly. If this was, I would have demonstrated.
I'll take this one. You see, he was pulled very clearly.
Yeah.
But you see, if he had kept running and you see that the shirt is holding him,
Let me tell you something.
they would have given him the penalty.
He was pulled by delete, split second, but he didn't fall on that
Exactly.
pull. Delete held him, left him, he didn't go down. It was when he felt Harry Maguire. then
He touched him.
him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Maguire
that's what
just
I'm
touched him.
and
then
that's what I'm saying.
pop
And it's,
like that.
and it's in the referees have been giving guidance that if there's contact, but the player makes more of the contact than you can reasonably expect.
You should
because
ignore.
it should not be a penalty. Because like I said, if he had held on to him and you see him running and you can see that he's trying to run and he's impeded, he would have got the penalty.
Yeah.
But if you throw yourself like that,
I know what he did,
theatrically, they overturn the penalty.
Look.
So I think Ashley Young was his own worst enemy because he actually, I think, could have got a penalty if he had been trying to run and you can see that, okay, he's not able to go.
Nketia, where normally do you see? See when they're about to dive and when we go for the Olympics or the swimming competition, that and then they are saying on the mask gets it. That's why you see people dive like that with their foot all over the place. What sort of player is this? You captain this team for almost 2-3 seasons. You want to misbehave?
I can't believe this. As Leon obviously holds a very different opinion from this, but
No, he died.
He died.
Look,
he died.
But that's why I said, they see, if he had actually tried to run and tried to challenge for the ball, and you could see some impediment,
Exactly.
he might have got the decision. He actually, because he was too eager to get the decision, cost himself the decision in the end, actually. It was just one of those things.
just snap thoughts on the game itself. Like, what were your biggest takeaways? Moyes clearly doing a good job with Everton. United still, I mean, it was a decent result based on how the game went, but still not reaching the heights they need to.
I think Amorim has had a few games like this, and it makes me wonder about his starting selection, if he's been getting it right. Because we can see quality from this team, because teams don't come back by chance.
Yep.
There has to be a tactical change, there has to be a mentality switch. So there's quality in the team in certain moments. But too often they start a game, and by the first half, early in the game, they don't score in the first half.
Yep.
I saw a stat that maybe Amorim has
16. In fact, United have scored once in the first half in 16 matches.
Exactly.
The last time they scored a first half goal, it's almost 16 games ago.
You watch this team play, and I don't blame the manager. Look at the first half. Look how slow Casemiro, Maguire. Look at them, very lethargic, no desire, nothing. You're playing for Manchester United. You are taking. Look, how many teams will give you the amount of money Man United gives to their players? How many teams? If that cannot motivate you enough to show a bit more appetite, a bit more desire, to work a bit harder, intensify whatever you do for this club, then you have no business in the team. Amorim said something. He was asked, "What do you think the problem is?" He said, "I don't know." But just before that, he has said that United players lose the ball and
easily.
No pressure.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that.
How do you lose them? A Manchester United player.
Yep.
We saw Real Madrid play Man City in midweek. Asensio, under no pressure, 70 yards. The next moment, the ball is in the back of the net. United players, under no pressure, 5 yards, 10 yards, 15, 20, they can execute. That is how bad some of them are. It's very, very appalling. So if you're a manager, you look at this guy, no, come on, these guys. So he's again on record to have said a lot of mistakes were made in the transfer market. And for as long as he sits there as the Man United coach, those mistakes will not be repeated. Anyway, when you watch this team play, every now and then, you want to back what that manager said. You can't break and pass. If I train for 2 weeks, I'll play better than Casemiro. All respect to him. Currently, I'm not saying I'm better than him. He was once the best player in his position in the world. I salute him from that. But from what he's doing, no, I just need 2 weeks of training. I'll control and pass.
I'll be very honest. Even me, I've not played football in like 3 or 4 years.
But this one, Kwandia.
You see, right now, when I look at the Man U lineup and I see Casemiro is starting, I put in my head that United are not winning this game. Seriously, it's that bad. And like Coach said, this is someone that we've seen him.
We've seen him at the top.
We've
Just
seen him
4 or
play
5 years
Champions
ago,
League finals.
he was winning the Champions League with Real Madrid. 4 or 5 years ago.
So for me, it's so disappointing. But coming back to what I was saying about the stats, I don't know what it is. I don't know, like Coach said, is it the players, who are not able to execute?
Mentally.
Is it the coaches' tactics that are off? Whatever the case is, they start very slowly. Like you said, one first half going their last 16 games.
Matches. Yeah.
And it's not like they are also solid defensively. So sometimes by the time the second half has started, the game is gone.
And then the back 3, back 5. How many teams have you seen play back 3, back 5 and tend to concede a lot of chances? They normally don't. If you go to that Antonio Conte Chelsea winning team, all they needed to do was to score a goal to win it. Teams that have executed back 3, back 5 to perfection, most often than none.
Nottingham Forest this season, for a large part, have been one of the
5.
better defensive teams in the league,
Exactly.
and they've been pretty solid.
Back 3, back 5. It gives you proper defensive line cover. It makes sure you have a minimum of 7 players accustomed to winning the ball. So if everybody is doing and they understand they are working within their zones, it's all day. You can defend any team all day. How many times haven't we seen coaches in trying to protect a lead go back 3, back 5? Just to make sure that they have proper defensive line cover, proper defensive depth. It is only when Maguire is the leader. That is where there's chaos at the back. You sit in the middle of the back 3, back 5, and you cannot organize. You are always out of position. One pass takes you off, and the whole defense is stretched. Look, he's just not good.
And coach has a point, with all due respect, that playing as a center back in a back 3 is the easiest position in football. With all due respect, because you are unlikely to be man marking someone because there's 2 other defenders.
Yes.
So your job is to basically sweep behind,
and organize,
cover, and make sure things. And when I say it's the easiest, I mean it's the less
burdened
in terms of duels. You are not supposed to be getting involved in duels. So I think coach has a point there. So like I said, for me, that first half thing
Yeah.
is what worries me about Manchester United. Because if you don't start games well, it means that sometimes the game is out of your
You're
reach.
playing catch up.
Okay, this game they were able to catch up and get the draw. But how many games over
Will you
the
be able
last
to
few,
get- yep.
over those 16 games have been lost before
Most
Manchester
teams
United
won't let you back
have
into a
woken
game where
up?
you're down 2-0.
So I think some things need to change. If they are not able to compete in the first half, you are making your second half, you're going to have to work doubly as hard.
Yes.
And I think these are some of the little things that are affecting the team. And look, I saw a table since Amorim joined.
Yeah.
Manchester United have collected the 17th most points in the Premier League in that time. That's appalling. They've won, what, 4 and drawn 3. So it's Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton who are below them.
Yes.
In fact, the 15 points Amorim has collected, I think David Moyes in his, 6 games or whatever has collected like 11 or 12, just for reference.
Wow.
So it should just tell you how bad Manchester United are playing. Remember last week, we said there will be pain, and the pain will continue.
Yeah.
We'll say it again, the pain hasn't stopped.
Man United in a lot of trouble. Hopefully they can get some manageable games to get some respite. Let's get to another game that had pretty decent goals in there. Portman Road, Ipswich Town were up against Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs have now won 3 Premier League games, or have now won 3 games on a bounce. So Postecoglou was up to something when he said he needed a little patience to get out of the rut. Let's get the highlights. Wow, Dejan Kulusevski scoring an absolutely brilliant goal to cap off a decent Spurs performance. Talk to me about Spurs. You wrote something about Postecoglou and said that Spurs needed to move on from him because they probably wouldn't reach the heights they want to with him in charge. Have you changed your mind slightly based on their recent form?
No. I think the truth is, I think he mismanaged the injury crisis because I think their form during the injury crisis was too poor. Because other teams had injuries. You had Andoni Iraola with a similar amount of injuries around the same points in time.
Yep.
Managing to get
Maybe a
wins.
bit more.
Yeah.
That's the bottom
Probably.
one.
Yeah, managing to get wins and keeping his team consistent. So I get it. Injuries are part of it. Your performances will drop. But their performances during that period with the injuries were basically on par with Southampton. That's how bad it got. And we've been talking about how Southampton have offered basically nothing this Premier League season. So for your form to be that bad, it's not good enough. So that's where I came from. And secondly, the fact is, he's not even keeping them in Europe right now. If they were still around, if they had just kept a decent amount of form, you can imagine a late run taking them to Europe. Right now, I don't see that. And that's very disappointing. So right now, the only hope is a strong run in the Europa League. Are they still in the FA Cup?
No.
Yes, I think Aston Villa took them out, correct? Yes. So right now, you have the Europa League is all that's left for them.
Yeah.
If they win the Europa League, that's great. They get to the Champions League. And to be fair, he's bought himself a chance to coach in the Champions League if he gets them there. I can't deny him that. But truth be told, based on results, I think he has to go. Because at the end of this season, it will be basically, if you think about it, they had a fast start. About their first 10 games, they won like 7. And since then, they've been very patchy. Since that initial run of games, they've never looked like a team that is going to finish in the top 4. Very patchy performances. This injury crisis had not helped. So I think the injury crisis is more like the final straw, because I think there were question marks about his suitability and their consistency and whether he could ever make them a top 4 team. These questions were starting before the injuries. And then the injuries just showed that, look, this is a problem. And another thing is, his style of play is probably why they have so many injuries. The players are running too much. Offensively, they do the most sprints. Defensively, they do the most sprints. If you are sprinting the most, you are asking for muscle injuries. And we see someone like Van der Ven, he has to cover huge amounts of space. When he tears his hamstring, he tweaks his groin, whatever the case is, it's to be expected. Now, you don't have any defenders and you struggle. So part of it is because the injuries are partly because of his style of play. It's difficult for me to say, oh, the injuries are there, so you're unlucky. It's not like his players are hitting other players. You know, contact injuries are accidental. Basically, no one causes them. But the style of play is contributing to the injury. So for me, when you add all of those things together, it just makes him the wrong appointment. Because these players, if you think about it from a business sense, they are multi-million-pound assets, and he's running them into the ground. If you own the transport company, and you had a driver who every time he's in an accident, every time he forgets to change the oil, he puts diesel when it's supposed to be petrol, you will sack him after a while. Am I wrong? But with Ange Postecoglou, he's allowed to run these players into the ground and ruin their prospective careers in the future. I think when you put all of this into context, he is not getting value for money from what he has been given because they have spent money. And he's going to have to keep buying players because injuries are going to keep happening. And it's going to be like, oh, injuries. But at a certain point, when does he take responsibility? Look at Arne Slot. He has managed his team so well that we're not seeing a lot of muscle injuries. He's keeping the players fit. That's how, and that's why you can contrast and say, look, it's not impossible to keep your players fit. It's not impossible to have a good injury record. So for me, when I look at it this way, I just don't think he's the right man for the job. Not because his teams can't win football games. I think at their best, they're one of the best teams in England. But their best is so rare, and you don't know when it will come. It's just not a process you can sustain or follow. So when you put it all together, I'm not a big fan of his tenure as Spurs coach. But I still think there's a good manager in there. I think there are some tweaks. Maybe if he lowers the intensity of his game, he works on his rest defense, so his players don't cover as much space in transition. I think he can get a lot of things done, but he just needs to make some tweaks.
Doesn't seem like a manager who likes to make tweaks.
I think there's something there for sure, but I think this Spurs job, I think he's messed it up and he has to go.
Coach, what would you say to people who would say that you spent 2 seasons buying Postecoglou his players and making this his team? Firing him will mean that bringing in another manager who will probably ask you to buy him his own set of players.
For me, look, you know my stand on firing managers left, right. I don't support that. But when it is very, very obvious and clear that it's not going to happen, then you have me come in and support it. Most people said I supported Ten Hag. I still do believe that he shouldn't have been sacked because in 2 years, he came at the time where Man United had its worst ever season.
Yeah.
Given a chance, he placed third, he won the Carabao Cup. The following season, he placed 7th or 8th, he won the FA Cup. This was the most important year of the regime, but the team building had just started properly. First time he was given a proper structure to work under. If you just oppose that against what Postecoglou is working with, I agree 100% with Soso. His biggest problem is the lack of pragmatism in his approach. Okay, this is your team. You've been given the players that you requested for. How then, or how well can you help your team to make sure that they go the entire? Because look, it's a journey. It's a very long journey.
Marathon.
And especially what actually gets me annoyed, yes, that's the right word, gets me annoyed about him is the fact that you play on Thursday. There's no time to recover. You come on Sunday and you are demanding that they go at the same intensity. Nobody does that. Look, I used to follow Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, and those guys. Normally, when Man United those days or Arsenal those days go to Europe, especially when they travel a long distance, when they come back home, they tend to slow down the tempo of their games because they know they've got the quality.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, their quality will show and they'll win it. But with this particular manager, like Susu said, about 95% of the injuries that his players have sustained has not been as a result of they've been contacted by any other player, but simple jogging, simple walking, simple running. Then the hamstring is gone, the groin is gone, there's a calf muscle, there's this. If you're a manager, I ask yourself, what are the medics doing in the team? What sort of medical advice are they giving to the manager? These are things that should be diagnosed properly by the medics. They tell, look, per the way we play our football, per the stats that we are watching, most of these injuries is as a result. So can we
do something different, lower the intensity?
Be a bit pragmatic? Yes, even against the teams that they are expected to lose against, where you now think that because of the quality, Liverpool, Arsenal, let's say Man City or something, because of the fact that in terms of quality they don't match up, one would have thought that those games are perfect games where you get them to sit back, very pragmatic, and play to their counter-attack. But rather, they go for it. And against the teams that they are expected to beat, they also go for it at the same intensity. You cannot manage. At the end of the day, it will end up to be what? Money bad spent. Because if these players, like the Dutch boy,
Van der Ven.
look, he's a player I
He's been injured every season.
He's
He's
if
been
that
injured
boy
twice
can
already
stay
this
fit,
season.
if he can stay fit, he'll be the best defender in the league, simply because of his recovery. No defender in the league recovers better.
Winger's pace.
In fact,
Look,
when you do the
electrifying.
stats for like top speed,
That's right.
he's first every
That's
season
what I'm
since he
saying.
came to the Premier League.
No, but and if you're a coach and you've got a defender who guarantees you proper recovery
Yeah.
when you are
A
exposed.
defender who's quicker than wingers.
You need to keep him fit.
Well, but you see, that's exactly why he plays that way, because he knows that Van der Ven, if they lose the ball, he can run.
No, but he has to be smart. Yes, that is the advantage. That is a plus.
Mind you,
but you don't
Van
abuse it.
Van Dijk is quite fast too. You don't see coaches putting him.
They don't use him like
No.
that. Yeah.
No, you don't do that. So look, the lack of smartness and the lack of proper pragmatism in his approach will cost him his job eventually.
Hans Postecoglou, my guys say you need to go because you are gradually sinking the ship at Spurs. I don't know if I agree, or I'm neither here nor there on the matter. I think that he probably should be allowed to try and see if he can salvage this season, see where the season ends. But let's take our first break here on the show. When we come back, we'll bring you highlights of that Arsenal versus West Ham game. We have a tactical breakdown as well for you on that game. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us here on Scorecard. To Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. Scorecard proudly brought to us by SoccerBet. Let's move on with analysis. Arsenal Football Club felt that they had the chance to close the gap on Liverpool because Liverpool had stumbled. But West Ham United, who have changed managers this season, had ideas of their own. In the end, it was a result that really shocked me. I didn't see it coming. In the end, West Ham picked up all 3 points. Let's get the highlights.
So this is the look. We did a game on radio, and for me, after the first, after the first 10, 15 minutes, I told you that I would not be surprised if West Ham were to beat Arsenal. If you look at the Arsenal lineup, you look at their forward players. Clearly, they had no focal point. Again, like we saw of them last week, where the Spanish international came in, Moreno came to meet a sleepy Leicester City's defense and then headed them 1-0 and then tapped in for the second goal. This time around, Graham Potter, like I did say earlier on, had 5 men across, 3 centre backs that make sure that they were very narrow and compact, and then 2 wing backs that make sure that they worked tirelessly and prevented any cross or compel Arsenal to play to their strength. Now, if you look at the ball here, this is what? Odegaard in possession of the ball. So if you look at this, where is the forward pass? There's a player right in front of Odegaard. He's blocking the channel. Look at the Arsenal players. They had all shifted into the half of what? West Ham United. One would have thought that per the defensive shape and per the attacking orientation of Arsenal, if you lose the ball there, you need to stop it there. What they couldn't or they shouldn't have allowed to happen was to allow West Ham to bypass the press and then find an attacking option. So if you roll this out, this is Odegaard. The ball got stopped there. Now, why were they backing off? Look at the Arsenal players. They were all backing off. Why were they backing off? Thomas Partey, Gabriel, why were they backing off? One would have thought that everybody's pinned in there. So go and stop the transition.
Especially this young guy.
Exactly. Go and stop the transition. They didn't do that. Bowen had a lot of space. He operated along that, and then he picked the pass to Wan-Bissaka. Everybody knows what Wan-Bissaka limitations are as a player. He's a very good, solid defensive player, 1v1, the best in the business. I've never seen him being
dribbled past multiple times.
I have never seen him that. 1v1, he did it to Mbappe, he did it to, you can mention, he would definitely have his way.
He's a decent dribbler, actually. I think he's very underrated. I think that his issue is that when he was at United and there was a set defense in front of him and he had to interplay and do his 1-2, he didn't have the quality.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Based on this, our accept
I've actually seen him this season since he went to West Ham. Now there's space for him to run.
He showed it to us in this game.
That's what I'm saying. That because of this, I have a complete change of mind on him. So now when you roll this,
had a step over and everything.
He could calm it down. And look at what he was doing. He was waiting for his West Ham players to arrive. Look at the recovery of the Arsenal players. Very bad. But in this way, tactically, you see, this is the Arsenal back line. Perfect back line. And they were in absolute control. The main problem here was with Declan Rice alongside Bowen. Because Bowen eventually was the scorer of the goal. Look at Declan Rice. And on this time, I think he's looking back to check where Bowen is. You know, 2 things. Either you follow him or you pass him over to one of the centre back. He didn't do that. He was just jogging. And it's because maybe they agree with me on Wan-Bissaka. Maybe they didn't believe that Wan-Bissaka has got the technical ability
To pick.
not to
I
only go past Calafiori, who is
Yeah.
an Italian international defender, but to put in the quality of
the cross he did.
How many times?
I have to agree. The cross I didn't expect. The
Yeah, of
dribble-
course. Nobody.
You see, if
Nobody
you had just
expected
maybe
that.
cut it across, just hit it across, I would expect.
It was
But
a
for him
the,
to
point cross.
the dribbling was.
He had
on-
some stepovers before the cross, Charlie.
There we go. So we can watch that. So it's a 1v1, Wan-Bissaka.
Oh, look at
Look at that.
Wan-Bissaka.
If we pause this here. Now look at it. Look at it. Look
Yeah.
at the Arsenal backline. You want to win the league? We were praising these guys, isn't it?
Yep.
This is Saliba.
Yep.
He is not at fault. I think this is Thomas Partey.
Yep.
And then this is
Gabriel.
And then this is what?
Rice.
Rice. So look at them. Look at all the Arsenal players in total control. The problem here, look at the position of Gabriel. He had done this. So
Yep.
when you do this, and the ball is whacked in the manner in which Wan-Bissaka did it, it is very difficult for you to come
React,
up and
yeah.
react. So that was the limitation. But again, Declan Rice, even at this stage, it is not Wan-Bissaka who is going to score the goal. It is these guys. These guys.
Not at one point
These
did he
guys.
tend to see our
These
goal.
guys, they are the threat. They are the threat. Those West Ham players, they are the threat. So at this moment, look at Gabriel. So fixated on the cross coming in for one. It's good to have a look, but you need to glance. You look, you glance. You look, you glance, so that you have a perfect way on how to deal with the situation. He's already sold himself down, and look at the quality of the cross. Once the ball went, they hesitated and banged into the back of the net. Look, you don't win the league with this type of defending. Watch it again. This is even more beautiful. Look at your boy. He's coming.
Nah, Wan-Bissaka was the thing.
Wan-Bissaka was absolutely, again,
Run,
you
step
can
over,
see
stop, go,
And
stop.
and the cross was put in the perfect.
Perfect
location.
perfect position.
In fact,
once
if
you
you
get
head it,
that
you might
target-
even head it into your own net.
In the case of Declan Rice, I think that was what prevented him from attacking the ball. But Gabriel's position, see, the way he had gone
Yeah.
down. Why were you going down? You are the tallest among them all. Stay on your feet. That ball was not a looping ball. If he had stayed on his feet, I think he would have dealt with the situation. But he didn't do that. And they considered this goal, I think, somewhere in the first half.
Yes.
Yes. I think in the 20s.
Like mid-first half, yep.
Mid-first half.
Yeah, it was in the 20s or 30s.
Yes, minutes, and they couldn't at
Yep.
the Emirates. You want to win the league
looked
against
so
this
predictable.
West Ham team.
Well-
You couldn't do anything. The West Ham goalkeeper had a field day.
Yep.
There was
Had nothing
they-
serious to
no,
do.
they dealt with it.
I have to say, I'm not surprised because I mentioned before. Remember, we spoke about on Panorama that this is not the Leicester game where I know the goal will come.
Yes.
That if they can keep a clean sheet, you can believe in them. But if they concede,
Yeah.
you
We
start
know-
to worry.
Exactly.
Because if you have Merino up front, with all due respect to Mikel Merino,
He's not the number 9.
there's a reason he's not a striker.
He's not a
Then
striker.
you look at Ethan Nwaneri. He's 17. This is not a guy who you can expect to win you games just yet. Too much. Then you have Trossard on the other side. Trossard is a decent guy, but he's not the guy who's going to win you games that way.
Exactly.
He wins you games when there's other guys creating chances for
Yeah.
him to do something. So I think the person who a lot of Arsenal fans have criticized is Martin Odegaard. They've been very critical of him because
No,
they
but
feel that.
no.
and I'm saying that this is the fan perspective. That they feel like as captain and as the most creative player there, the coach
Yeah.
of both the best player there, he should be doing more. But at the same time, I have to ask myself, how much can you do when you are in the midfield and the forward line is like this? Because who can even change the game of the bench for Odegaard to even pass it to? So I think Arsenal fans are a bit harsh on Odegaard.
I completely disagree with them. If you've watched Odegaard play this, he's not the Messi-like type of player who will pick the ball and go past people. He's always about the give and go into the channels.
Yeah.
So it depends on the movement in front of him. Mourinho, we all knew yesterday, was not going to give them that movement up front. But look, then he doesn't seem to have that telepathic relationship or understanding with the young boy on the right hand
right,
side.
yeah.
If that is Saka, he goes there, he
don't-
creates an overload,
I-
and then they find a way through
I
you.
don't think they've even played 10 games together.
Exactly. So why are they blaming him?
Yeah.
Why
They,
do
they,
you
they
think-
expect him to do a carry job because
but
they
it's
feel
just the
like
way he's
But
been
see,
playing.
when you're captain, there's
That's
elevated
exactly.
responsibility.
This is the way-
and there was a certain consensus when he got injured that their creativity dried up when he went
Yes,
away.
their creativity, that dried up when he went away simply because he's the one who brings the best out of Saka, Martinelli.
In fact,
and those
there's a
people.
stat-
Now he's come and all those people are out.
There was an article by the Athletic, I think last season, that measured how teams get the ball into the box. So which player? So the most for Arsenal, it was Odegaard to Saka.
Yes.
That was the most the most
that,
common way Arsenal got the
Yeah.
ball into the box. So I think it's difficult to criticize Odegaard when Saka is not there.
Yeah.
Because it's a symbiotic relationship.
Yep.
Odegaard plays better when Saka is there. And Saka too plays better when Odegaard is there.
That's true.
Look, you have to blame the manager on that. We did establish on sports on the EPL show that he spent over 560 million pounds. You don't spend that amount of money
And not by a striker.
and not buy a proper number 9. Somebody who give you 20. Today we watch Mo Salah and we're all of the view that I personally made an emphatic statement. He's the best African player ever to have played in the EPL. And he's currently, as we speak,
He's the best player in the world.
He's not a Vinicius Junior. If you want to be sincere and honest, Salah is by far the best player in the world. Why have we done that? Because for the past 5 years,
Yeah.
he's guaranteed 20 plus goals in the most
Throw
difficult
in as
league.
10 plus assists
And
as
he's
well.
playing as a winger.
And coach, I personally go a step further. I won't even limit him to best African player. I'll say for his position on the wings,
He's the best.
he's the best to have played. No, to have played in the Premier League. I'll go that far.
True. So that's the word. Let's now bring you the actual highlights. We have the correct highlights for you on the West Ham Arsenal game. So let's take it now. Marcus Rashford there came off the bench and recorded 2 assists to turn the game around for Aston Villa. Coach, what do we have on the boards?
Look, Chelsea have got serious problem, and I think fundamentally it's been created by the manager. This is a very young team.
Yep.
So when you ask a young team to go out there and all the time try to control games, they don't have the experience to do so. Chelsea has always been a very excellent team anytime they've been asked to play on the transition.
Yep.
This Chelsea group of players, they've got decent pace. What they don't have is that in an attempt to go and control the possession of the game, they leave themselves very exposed at the back.
Yeah.
So every single week, they give away chances upon chances upon chances.
Yep.
So if the team they are playing against is a solid team, they get beat. Now, I think they started the game very, very well. And that first goal by Enzo Fernandez was a perfect reflection of what they were all about. Look, this is a simple tactical advice to every winger. Winger, if you are a winger in football, the moment it's a 1v1 situation between you and the fullback, what I will always insist, don't even think about passing the ball. Go take him on. Go take him on. Because if you go past him, 80% a chance is created.
Yep.
And that is exactly what Neto.
I just want to add to that. Pep
Why?
Guardiola said that the one skill he loves in his players, because it can't be coached, is dribbling.
Yes.
Because a dribble breaks a press.
Exactly.
If there's a press and you dribble one person, it means that
Technically.
another person has
Will have to move
vacate
out of his position.
and it
And then
breaks
the
the
chances
press.
Disorients the press.
Exactly. So this is Neto. He picks up the ball and he realizes that it's a 1v1 situation. He's got good skills.
Yep.
He's got good pace.
Very-
so let's take
very
him on.
good one-on-one
So
player.
he took him on one-on-one, and then look, he just beat him for pace. Let me pause this there. Look at I don't know why teams constantly, defenders, you see, these defenders of late, they are so bad that, I don't know, when the ball is heading towards the bar line, logically, you view and then you watch. You view, but they are all hoping that the crosser of the ball will not get the delivery right. If you look at them different, look, those days, it was Carvalho, Pepe, Ferdinand, Vidic. Hardly were they conceding such goals. But when the ball goes to the bar line, Vidic watches, you have to be doing that. And there are proper tactical training rudiments that are taught during the training to deal with this situation. Look at the Villa. Look at the entire Villa
Coach,
backline.
I actually disagree with you on this point
This one.
about the defenders. I actually think it's more so that the fullbacks were better defensively. So the ball was not even coming as often.
Not the fullbacks. They were good.
Coach,
yeah, they were better than. But the
that's what I'm saying.
centre backs
That's
were
what I'm saying, that
quality
this
centre
type of, and I think also a lot of wingers didn't try and make this type of cross. They were crossing from a lot farther out.
from a left further, but
So it was a different type of cross they had to deal with.
No, but there
I
were
understand
times-
what you mean, that, but I feel like this chance was a lot rarer back then.
Not really, but to some extent, yes.
I
But
get what you mean
If you
too.
get wingers like Andre Christensen, like David Beckham in his game didn't have good pace.
Yeah.
So he would
So he'll
cross
cross from
But
deep, yep.
whenever, like Ryan Giggs would do and take you to the bar line and float it in. So if you look at this ball, look at them. What is that? Look, they are all not marking anybody.
I
Look
just
at
want
Enzo
to
Fernandez.
clarify for the viewers. I'm not saying that this is acceptable. I'm just saying that it happens a lot more
I
often
understand.
for different
You see,
reasons.
Look at Enzo Fernandez. Konsa. Look at Mings. Look at them.
3 of them literally doing
All
nothing.
trying to block the ball and not paying attention to the one who is
Coming
better.
into the box,
Just tap the ball. So, look, if you're a defender and you're watching
And
this,
considering that Cole Palmer was also free, it shows
Yeah,
how
that's-
badly organized they were.
they were. And you see, all the 3 of them were focused. It's good to view, but you have to glance. See, you watch and then you glance because those guys coming
And
they are the
communicate.
most- and communicate among yourself. They didn't do that. And then eventually, easy tap in for Enzo Fernandez. Like I said, Chelsea started the game so well. So at this stage, they deserved to be in the lead. Then, very typical of them, they had some decent chances like we saw in the highlight. That second goal or the next goal of the game was the most important. They didn't deal with that. Then, where's Asensio first goal? I think this is Asensio first goal. Yes. Again, Malo Gusto. As to that guy, I don't know, but I've never appreciated the fact that he spends time to go to the salon and get his hair braided. As a footballer, you don't braid your hair like and anytime to the do.
What has that got to do with his
no,
game?
You see, you need to rest.
I
And
disagree with you. Everyone deserves to look good.
You see, I'm not saying he shouldn't look good. He's a gentleman. You go to the salon, you sit there for hours as a footballer for them to braid your hair and be putting lines in your hair and design your hair. What is that? That is why when you come onto the pitch, you lose focus. Now watch it. Oh, don't laugh. Don't now, see, where is his focus? Look at him. Look at Malo Gusto. This is Rashford. As it stands now, all these players, he can see the line. Malo Gusto here can see that all these Villa players, they're all ahead of the Chelsea line. So at the end of the day, he's not supposed to be focused on them. His focus should be on Marco Rashford. But like I said, he's not had good rest.
And to be honest, he had a torrid time when Rashford came into the game.
Okay, now look at what he did. I sincerely believe that he got to the ball when stretching. But when you are stretching on the ball, you don't attempt to control the ball in your 18. Watch his technique. He actually cushioned the ball for Marcus Rashford. Look at that.
Yep. That was
You don't
literally,
do that.
was literally the setup to the goal.
Exactly. What he should be doing is to continue the trajectory of the ball.
Try and poke it out.
Poke it out for corner. Look at him. He's controlling in the air like that. You don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You can clearly see. You can clearly see that he knew Rashford was there, but again, he was not paying attention to him. Because if he was paying attention to him, one, he wouldn't attempt to control the ball in mid-air. What he should have done, this is not gravels. This is grass. So throw yourself in the air and bat the ball out for a corner kick. You save your team.
Yeah.
Once they conceded, Villa, typical of them being the home team,
Tails were up. Yep,
the
momentum
tails
was
were
on their
up.
side.
They were firing. Una Emery tactically has brought on Marlon, Rashford,
Yep.
Asensio,
Yep.
and then the boy from Jamaica. What's the name?
Bailey.
Bailey.
Yep.
And
So he literally brought on Bailey and Rashford, and the game completely
and the
changed.
game completely changed, and they all started coming at Chelsea.
Yep.
And the inexperience of the Chelsea team showed that anytime they've been put under incessant pressure,
Yep.
most often than not, they tend to give away goals.
And they suffered an injury to one of their centre backs, so they had to make a
Chalobah,
change
it was a
mid-game.
I've never trusted the guy who does this thing.
See, Tosin was doing his work when it was so
You see,
fun.
when he came on the day, he had to look at this defender. Instead of you to be focused, you are walking at him. Yeah.
Oh, that work kills me, man.
So again, look at them. There's a corner kick.
Yeah.
Chelsea have considered corner kick. Look at the gap. This is Rashford,
Yep.
who is the taker of the corner kick, and this is a Villa player. Look at how far. You see, one would have thought that the moment he showed up, he should come. But look at the entire Chelsea team. Look at the gap. No problem if that is the gap with respect to Rashford. But this Rashford pass has already created a 2v1 situation. So that player here, this very Chelsea player, the one who is helping out here, is completely passive now. Because watch Rashford. He gives the ball to him, and look at the speed with which giving the ball back, and then bang into the back of the net. Yes, I agree, the goalkeeper could have done better. Yes, I agree. But the shape of the Chelsea defense, and then watch, there was this player here. Who is that? Jadon Sancho. Back to default setting. you are saying somebody is been free. You are not free. Do your job, you won't do your job. Look at him. Look at him. This is Jadon Sancho. This is another. I think this is Rich James.
Oh God.
No, but how can the two of them allow Asensio that space?
Asensio was just cooling.
How can the two of them allow Asensio that space?
Yeah.
So the two of them, being the closest to Asensio, were all passive.
Yep.
And the moment, how many times did we not see Asensio do these things for Real Madrid?
And he has a lot of power in his legs.
His left foot.
I feel like a lot of people were being harsh toward the goalkeeper because he spilled this ball.
Yeah.
But if you look at the heat on the cross and the power with which the ball was connected,
he had limited chance.
He was not. In fact, he actually did well to even get a hand on it.
But you see, at the end of the day, when the ball goes under you like that,
it's a bit.
That's what I'm saying. I can understand.
It looks bad.
Yeah.
It's a bit of.
And you know, we've spoken about the Chelsea defense and that kind of stuff. I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we asked on Premier League Preview who we think will finish top 4. And I said, I look at the Chelsea defense, I look at the goalkeeper. They are always doing something. Yeah. They lose them too many games because this game, effectively, they are that Malagusto mistake and the goalkeeper thing lost them the game.
Exactly.
2 mistakes lost, and they do this too regularly. So for me, I don't think they're a top 4 team. I think they had it in the bag, but I think that now that their form has dipped, their confidence has dipped, they'll keep sliding.
It's a young team too.
Yeah.
When they start experiencing this level of difficulty, where are the experienced players there? If you had experience, then they could galvanize them again and get them to go. But there are no experienced guys there, so it is what it is.
Well, Chelsea Football Club losing there. Chelsea fans, let me know how you guys are feeling this weekend. Is there some light at the end of the tunnel? What needs to change? Let's take our second break here on the show. When we come back, we have one more tactical breakdown for you. That game between Liverpool and Manchester City. Stay with us here on Scorecard. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. Let me read a few messages and then we'll get into our third tactical breakdown of the day. So this one says, Coach, please cool down. You're on fire. This evening is too much. Anyways, congrats to LFC for beating Manchester City. This one says that, good evening, Ben. Tell Coach I want to meet him one day. I love him not only for what he says, but also his gestures. A communicator and lovely to watch. I like the walk, the Tosin Adara Bioyo walk.
He should come.
He should come to the next show. True. A lot of people got to meet him today. Everyone should watch out for Madrid in both the La Liga and the UCL. Shout outs to my lovely wife, Goldie. Nice that you didn't forget your wife in all the footy that was going on. This one's from KT. Says, Coach, you don't know Wan-Bissaka too well. Against Man City last season, Wan-Bissaka dribbled past 3 City players, where 2 fell to their knees. He did same to Brighton's Estupinan. Bissaka was one United player who wasn't scared of dribbling. My Spider-Man. Charlie, very interesting. Like you were rightly saying, he has a thing for
No, I think he's very good. One-on-one, going forward and defend. I think because he knows how to dribble. He knows what they're trying to do, so
that makes a lot of sense. This one here is from Prince from Akemoda. He says, good evening, my Scorecard crew. Just imagine Arsenal with Merino as a striker at the Bernabeu or the Metropolitano. Arteta should be blamed for their loss. You spent millions in the market but no striker. Well, Netflix is about to release a new Arsenal season 3. This one here also says, good evening, Abonkele, and without a doubt, the Chelsea cycle goes on and on. We score first, we forget how to play, we concede goals, we lose the game. At this moment, I'm tired of losing. Okay. This one here says, Liverpool is winning the league, even if it's by goal difference. Now, FSG should give slot money to shop for players this summer. Kintafamba, David, Duckilton. Okay, inside Kibi, full Liverpool fan. I hope I got the name right. Dactylon. Okay, you broke down the name in syllables for me, so thank you very much for that. Let's do our third breakdown of the day, which is the game at Anfield between Liverpool and Manchester City. In fact, it was actually, was it at Anfield? No, it was at the Etihad between Manchester City and Liverpool. And Pep Guardiola had never lost a game
in the league game.
Yep,
I was about to say that. So you should be the one who should be telling us that is your first.
First loss, actually. First Pep loss.
First victory over Pep at
Etihad. Very big deal for Liverpool. Let's get the highlights. And a clean sheet as well away from home. Big win for them.
So on Friday on Sports Panorama, I was very emphatic that if Liverpool shows up, they'll win the game. So Sue agreed with me at the time. And if you look at how, I don't want to use the word how bad Man City has become. But I think the time has come is the end to an era, and therefore he needs to rebuild the team. Maybe if he knew this was going to happen, maybe he should have agreed to the wife and then left after last season.
And you know, the reports coming from Man City, they actually thought that last season they would have had to renew after the 3 straight.
That's right.
But because they won the league, it made them like kind of like that. We won the league, so do we really have to change? But apparently, the idea to change had already been mooted after the 3rd straight title.
Exactly.
But because the 4th one came, it made them kind of a bit complacent to say that, oh,
you know, we can win again.
Exactly.
So Liverpool went there, and you could, the moment the whistle went, you could see that they knew that, look, we've been the better team or the best team in the land, and we need to show these guys. If when they were the best team, they show all of us. Now is our attempt to prove. So Liverpool imposed themselves, and I was so delighted with the manner in which Alexis McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch. Look, if there's any player who has actually proven me wrong,
he's won you over.
He's won me over. It's Gravenberch.
Because you were insistent.
I was very skeptical about
him playing at number 6 the whole season.
Look, the way he commands his presence. Don't forget, he's a huge lad.
6'4".
He's got proper presence. But the beauty of he's so technically gifted and under pressure. The last time I saw a DM play like this under pressure in the most intense league is Rodri himself. The best player in the world in that position. Maybe Sergio Busquets. But this season, Gravenberch has made that position his own. And today was when I actually came to accept the fact that I think
you always said that the biggest test for him would be this type of game.
Exactly. And today he proved that indeed he's the man for the job. But this is one from the training ground. So let it roll, and then on the second tag, and then I will explain what actually happened. So Liverpool knew exactly what they were going to do. Let me pause it. Pause. Now look at it. This is the scorer of the goal. How do you leave this man unmarked? That is Mohamed Salah. Who does that? The most prolific goal scorer in the league.
Are they not thinking that his shot is a corner?
Exactly.
We're going to cross the ball.
So therefore, his shot is a corner. They are going to cross. But he in particular, you don't leave him unmarked.
I would agree with Ben on that, because you can see that they were probably thinking, and you know, Liverpool usually put their corners in the air.
They aim for Konate and Van Dijk with their corners.
No matter,
Coach, let's finish.
On the rebound, one player you don't want a rebound to fall to.
So, Mohamed Salah.
So you don't leave him
But you see, Coach, they hadn't even adjusted, because you can see that they are still expecting the aerial corner.
Yes.
And you see that because he comes round, and you can see that, look, even the 3 defenders that are blocking. So you can see those people in the 6-yard box trying to protect the keeper. These people are blocking. So by the time they are even realizing what is happening, it's too late.
And to be honest, this routine is not something Liverpool have tried. Yes.
I agree with you 100%. But what I am also saying as a coach is that anybody else can be left unmarked.
Don't leave the opponent's most dangerous player unmarked.
Fundamental.
That I agree with you, but you see, when he came across like that,
but if there was a player closer to him, there wouldn't be the time to come across.
If you watch, Rico Lewis is now trying to extract himself from
out
those
of there,
players.
Exactly. Because he was left unmarked, and the Liverpool players knew he was the receiver of the ball, they then blocked every other run towards him. That is proper coaching. You mark him. If you don't mark him, and we, the executing team, we know that he's the main man. Once he peels off, you guys, the rest of you block. So there were 2 blockings here. Watch. There was the first block at this end, where these 2 Liverpool players you see here, they all started at the near post. But they knew what they were. This is what I think Curtis Jones and McAllister. And McAllister knew that.
That might even be Diaz, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
I think that's Curtis Jones outside. Right?
Yes, Curtis Jones is outside in the mix.
So the idea, they knew their roles. Make sure you block so that I get a full bite on the ball and then pick the pass. And this is what you call the one. Look at it, beautiful. Isn't that
it
so
happens
beautiful?
so fast?
Oh, it's actually, I think,
Szoboszlai
who
passed the ball. And then, how do you leave Mo Salah? Look,
and just rerun it again.
Rerun this again. If you play this, look at it. Van Dijk and Co. This is McAllister. He's the one executing the game. Look at that. How do you leave Salah? The point I'm making, yes, they were expecting a cross, but look at it.
Yeah, he's just too wide open.
Look at Mo. You don't leave Mo like that. He will punish you. And
I
credit
think,
to the
I
young
think
man.
this tactic works because they know that everyone is expecting an aerial
Real
ball.
ball, yep.
And
So-
Liverpool knowing exactly what they
What they
were
were
doing.
doing.
They were
decided
blocking.
to change
Let's
their
block
routine,
everybody. Nobody
and it
goes
catches
towards it.
everybody off guard.
I think we should
should
give
give
them
them-
credit for
Yeah,
a
no,
very
no, yes,
smart
you see-
routine rather than
No, that's what I'm
lax.
saying, that it came from the training ground.
Yeah.
So they are credited for that.
Yeah.
But as a coach, you want to look at the defensive team. What could they have done
better.
The problem, maybe look, this ball fall to any other player. How many times have we not
Fair.
seen players
Get the
this
ball
over
like
the
that
bar?
and blast it, yep.
But
Mohamed
you don't
Salah.
leave Mohamed Salah
That's why
free.
the reason I want to disagree with Coach is that everyone knows Liverpool, and that's the thing. They've
I
done
agree
their-
with you.
So it's like you are probably
My
thinking that
point
you have
is-
to worry about him on the second ball,
My point
not
is,
the first
the
ball.
point is that leave every other player free, not the leading goal scorer.
But
in
you
the
see-
league. He's so much on form that
Yeah.
that which is not even
He can
a
turn-
chance,
he can turn
he
a
puts
non-chance
it in.
to a chance.
But
That's
see,
the
that's
point
what
I'm
saying.
making.
The only reason I disagree with Coach is that you are seeing they had packed the 6-yard box to kind of make sure that Van Dijk and Konate don't get a header.
Yeah.
They were very
They were
aware
obviously-
of what they were
and
good
not
at
thinking of
doing.
the second ball.
95% of the Man City players, they were all zona marking.
Yeah.
Problem number one, you are parking, but you are not man, you are zone marking. And if you are zone marking, then get somebody to mark the most prolific
Dangerous
goal
player.
scorer in the league. That's the
Yeah.
point I'm making.
I
But look,
understand you.
fantastic goal by Liverpool. That was the goal that, look, even Pep Guardiola didn't see that coming.
Nope.
So when it happened,
Nope.
wow, these guys are
They
this
mean
good.
business, yep.
Maybe I feel like they should have saved this for a bigger match because for me, I think they
Maybe
beat-
a Champions League routine, final routine like this.
I felt that
would have been
I felt
excellent.
like City were never winning this game, especially
course.
not with Haaland. So I felt like it's a wasted
Exactly.
routine. Honestly, like
Exactly.
Let's do more goals, yep.
So this is the second goal. Salah again.
look at
good
look
goal.
at
Was that Kuzanov?
Good goal. Now you see,
Look at
this is
just how
Soboslai.
passive
And look,
they are.
he played one of his best games today, isn't it? Soboslai. He was so good that if you look at it's about the diagonal. Okay, we are not seeing the pass. Look at the way he turned the young man. What's the Croatian international? What's the
Vardio.
Vardio. He just turned him left, right, center like that.
Look at how passive the City players are.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Like
no aggression
Yep.
to win the ball back. Everything is just. But look, just to highlight some few points that I noticed today. So many things went on today in that Man City game that I didn't appreciate. Maybe the rebuild started tactically today. For the very first time, Kevin De Bruyne was on the pitch, but he was not on set piece duty. Did you recognize
Mamouche was
that?
on
he
set
also,
piece.
he also played in a double pivot.
Yes.
He played alongside Nico Gonzalez, more like a double pivot.
But-
so he wasn't really. So it was Mamouche and Foden in the middle, who were kind of
who were
taking-
straight
who were
in
But
kind
at
of.
least there's no better set piece taker in that team than Kevin De Bruyne. But Mamouche was the one given the responsibility. And how many did he get right? I think
I was surprised
he never
they
went
kept.
past the first.
I was
Liverpool.
surprised they kept him on the duty.
And I was asking Atina Baker, I was I'm observing something. Is it that everybody knows that Kevin De Bruyne is exiting? So the rebuild have started where they are now beginning to get other players to take up responsibility so that Assad, when he leaves, there wouldn't be a huge void created.
I have to say, this is also one of the worst games I've seen Kevin De Bruyne play
Yes,
for
but you
City
see,
as well.
give
But-
him the benefit of that. He's not been fit.
I'm not saying it to criticize him.
Of course,
I'm
I
saying it
understand.
to say that it shows where we are because first, you could see that his physicality is declining.
Yeah, he's-
Yep.
And I think it's affecting his technical ability in the sense that he's not as confident.
The
And I
intensity
think-
of the league too is
And
not
I think
helping.
maybe sometimes now he's a bit tired. So sometimes you see him take some wild shots and passes. And you can think maybe, is it that he's tired? That's why
No, you see-
he's so inaccurate with the kicking or
I
what?
think today we saw him do that twice. But if you watch him technically, when he picked up the ball, he glanced at his option. He's the best player who receives the ball, and before receiving of the ball, he's already seen what he had to do and decided on that. But when he picked up the ball, there was no option. If Haaland had played today, I think we'd have gotten the best out of him. Because Haaland as a striker has always been better when De Bruyne is on the pitch. But look, Liverpool has won the league. It will be the greatest
Bottle job.
bottle job because the team closest to them completely toothless. They can bite. They don't have teeth to bite. I'm referring to Mikel Arteta and his Arsenal team. It's unacceptable. Liverpool, in my view, are champions elect.
So Liverpool Football Club doing the business for the first time at the Etihad over Manchester City 2-0 and opening the gap at the top of the table. Let's go to another country and another league. Let's catch back-to-back highlights this time. Barcelona were up against Las Palmas and Real Madrid were up against Girona. Let's get the highlights of those two games. So you see Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. combining for a goal there. Two people many people swore couldn't play together. Look, it's not been great, but it's not been bad either. They've combined for quite a number of goals. La Liga's race is heating up. It's very tight at the top. Just quick thoughts on the two games that were played. Snap thoughts, and I'll go to coach.
I mean, for Real Madrid, we just have to talk about Luka Modric's goal. I mean, I saw that ever since he's been in La Liga, he scores at least one goal from outside the box this season. It's only
at least one.
It's only one season he hasn't scored, and he's given us his contender for this year, and what a goal it was. And I think if you watch the game, it was a tight game at the time, a bit of back and forth, both teams. But you see, when you break, and you look at the chances Real Madrid, we saw the shots they were taking. When you have quality players, you can shoot like that. I know a lot of teams don't play long shots as much because they don't trust the quality of their players. You feel like it's a wasted opportunity. But when you see these Real Madrid players, any small space
lots
that they
of
can
long
shoot,
shot takers.
Yeah, it's a problem. So it shows that they are able to break the game. And even the second goal, great partnership between them. Look at how Vinicius Jr. moves into the space Mbappe vacates. Because Mbappe drags the centre back and Vinicius is on his back
just quickly
through the middle.
Occupies
so
it.
Great understanding between the two, great play. And talking about the Barca game, I'll say a good result, but concerning performance from Lewandowski again. I know Barca fans are complaining about him. I know he scored a lot of goals, but he's been missing a lot lately. So you have to wonder what's next. Who are Barca going to buy to replace him? Because you can tell that his time is coming to an end. They might win the league this season, but I think going forward, they need a new striker. So I think that's concern number one for Barcelona for sure.
Coach?
Yeah, I think it is good for the Spanish La Liga, the fact that these two teams are now going neck.
So according to the table, they are locked on points actually. 25 games played by all three teams. 54 Real Madrid, 53 Atletico.
That is how close it is. I want this to remain the way it is, and then so that we'll see whether along the line somebody will decide, because Barcelona and Real Madrid are all in competition for the Copa del Rey. They are in the Champions League.
I'm pretty sure Barcelona are playing Atletico in the Copa del Rey.
Yeah. I think there's a double.
Real Madrid play Real Sociedad.
Yeah, there's a double header. So look, it is good for me. I don't want the Spanish league, La Liga, to be decided very early. There are times you want to have it go down to the wire, and let's see how it goes.
Let's see how La Liga does if it goes all the way down to the right. Atletico have conceded just 16 goals all season. We don't have a highlight for them here, but how good a chance do they have? A lot of people believe that this is the one season where they have a squad that might not be probably equal, but good enough to go toe-to-toe with Barca and Real Madrid.
I think they have as good a chance as any of the other three, because you have to remember there's a Clasico to be played. If that ends in a draw, the only winner there is Atleti. So all of these things, and they have to host Barcelona at their ground. What if they win there? That's a 6-pointer really, because you've gotten your 3 points and you've caused Barcelona. So look, there's a lot to play for, and considering that those Barca have those big games to be played against those two teams, it will really affect the dynamic of their table for sure. And that's the thing. Atleti, usually when they play the teams worse than them, I don't think there's no team I see in La Liga that if they play Atleti, I feel like they are the better team aside these two. So for that, I can see them winning the rest of their games. It won't be a surprise if they win every other game apart from the Barca game. It's unlikely to happen just because of the nature of football, but it's very possible. That's how good they are. They have one of the best coaches we've seen in the last 20 years. There's really nothing about this team. The only thing I always say is that because they don't have that superstar attacker, it might cost them in some games. They might not have that difference maker. But Griezmann is pretty close. I think Griezmann is the tier below the very best in terms of a difference maker. He's a very good player. He's just not a difference maker in that way, but he's a very good player. Alvarez is in good form. Soloth is in good form. You have Angel Correa off the bench. They have interesting players. They have a good squad.
They have good team depth. Very good team depth. Let me read a few messages to close out the show. Fred from Sunyane says, Ben, my question is, so what potential did Ten Hag see in Zexi and Højlund before he brought them to United? It is better we use midfielders to strike instead of these two players. They are not good enough. Many people don't know that in 35 years, Liverpool is now winning 2 Premier Leagues. You had time to shade Liverpool to this guy. Anyway, this one is from our good friend Eddie RTV from Lome in Togo. He says, just want to give you guys big ups for what you've been doing for sports in general and football in particular. Dr. Coach Nimley. My regards to your darling wife, bonsoir. This one here says that Bruno Fernandes is being wasted at United. He should be winning the league with his abilities to perform. Man United rebuild should start around him in the summer window. Otherwise, we have the manager with the visionary project in the summer. Dylan Hernandez from Lusaka in Zambia. Very interesting thoughts there. My little poem for Liverpool, this from Kwesi Anfield from Wager. He says, from club to slot, Liverpool go top. Man City chop hot. Arsenal 2 drop. Chelsea could not. Whilst United 2 rot. Hey.
Bars.
Man dropping bars over there.
From club to slot.
You know, from club to slot, Liverpool go top. Man City chop hot. It's called Kwesi Anfield.
Oh, brother, you forgive us MC something.
Kwesi Anfield from Wager.
Next time you text, you forgive us MC something. Forgive us an MC like.
You should have received your first MCing gig after you dropped bars on the show. Thank you very much, Kwesi Anfield, and thank you to all of you guys out there who sent us messages. Big shout outs to my people from Lusaka and Lome in Togo. We like those ones. Just mix it up. Next week, get more from Antanana, Revo, and places.
I want to hear from our friends in Malawi.
You know. Let's hear from everybody around the continent. Thank you very much, Coach. Thank you very much, Susu Graham, and thank you very much everybody who made this show possible. Same time next week, Scorecard will be back on your screens.